Hey there. So, it's your boy, Johnny Sugar, here to talk about my day, my dreams, and, journal catalog it. So, for a while now, um, it's kind of weird. I don't have PTSD or anything. I don't have PTSD or anything. But one of the reasons I feel kind of weird is, you ever go on the weird side of the internet where see all the bad things, the very bad things, very bad things? Well, I've seen just about everything. No, 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 don't give me that face. Okay, don't give me that word. Okay, trust me, I've seen about everything. At least that's what it felt like after a couple hours. See, when you see so many bad things, you kind of get the feeling that life is kind of just life. You lose your passion, your integrity. You lose a strong amount of empathy for the world. You lose a strong amount of empathy for everything. And I'll give you and if you don't, for those of you who don't know what empathy is, and I'm sure it's the large majority of you who do know what it is. Empathy is kind of like that feeling of love for something, your respect towards that object. Like, say, your friend trips onto the concrete floor. Although it's funny, you have an empathetics. Your empathy for that person uh, gives you the responsive nature to question whether or not they're okay, whether they're feeling okay, or if you should do something. And thus, that is your empathy. Empathy is one's level of concern about another person or something. I guess you could say it's one's passion and love for said noun. So, I guess after going on the bad side of the internet for a good 6 months, I mean, the first couple weeks was kind of like, first couple of weeks was kind of dark. I mean, I've never slept so long in my life. Never felt so hollowed out, as you would imagine. But I got to learn about just about everything. And the worst part is I had proof for it. There was plenty of proof of it being real. And I didn't like that. Anyhow, so after a couple of weeks, I got over it. At least that's what I told myself. I got over it. And I guess I was kind of a jerk for a good couple months. But I guess like a month, couple months, maybe 6, maybe a year. I don't know. It still follows me today. But I've gained most of my empathy back. But, I still care about people in a very nurturing way, but I don't think I'll ever be the caregiving, loving individual I was. But yeah, that's fine. Life teaches you things, and you just gotta be happy about life existing at all. Yeah. Anyhow, I guess you could say it kind of gave me a wake up call, or it matured me in some respects. But I guess what I'm supposed to talk about is my dream. So, in relation to my dreams, is I kind of had I went to bed thinking the thoughts you don't want to think about, and so I woke up in a cold sweat after a nightmare, and let's just say there was a lot of red, a lot of bone, and a lot of black, and a lot of noise. Yeah. So that didn't feel good. But I guess like the good dreams I had. Yes, let's focus on the good dreams. The good dreams I had were pretty much this morning. So this morning I had this good dream about how I went to sleep and then I woke up and I was pretty happy about it. I had this dream for some strange reason. I had a dream about Futurama in a Drake and Josh episode. The Drake and Josh episode indicated it was extremely original, but the idea was that Drake and Josh, yes, Drake and Josh. So Drake and Josh go on this big old adventure, and Josh is like okay, well, just for clarity, Drake is the fat guy and Josh is the skinny guy. This is how I think. Okay, so which I thought it was the other way around for a while. Anyhow, so Josh basically pulls in to get some money, and he decides that the job he has tailored to basically allows him to clean at somebody's house. So in his respects, if he finds out the house is dead, then he can throw a party there. And that's what he does. That's what he does. So Drake and Josh, he drags in his brother Drake, and then they, because Drake loves cleaning and he wants the extra money as well, so they both sign up for the job to clean this old person's house while they're off on vacation for a week. And so they clean up the house, keep everything clean, make it super nice. Yes, I know the dream's unrealistic, but still. And they clean it up. And they find out some really weird things, like they find a bunch of bloody bandages, and they find a bunch of bandage cutters and pliers and scalpels and a bunch of medical equipment scattered across the house. The place was fairly dirty, and they were using their mom's equipment to clean up the place. And they find out, they find out they couldn't, the place still smelled. Like one of the rooms smelled really bad, but they couldn't really identify what the smell was. So they just thought, they thought they could. So they just put a bunch of air freshener on it, sprayed it all down. And so then Josh calls in the party, and they have the party, and Drake finds out that they had a party, and Drake just blows up on Josh, and then the party's over. When the party's over, like it naturally is over, the following day, Josh pretty much, Josh and Drake go outside of the building, and then Josh talks to Drake, and he's like, hey, we should hire somebody to clean this place. And then Drake is like, we are the people who clean this place. And he's like, okay. So they go back in there to clean the place, and they find out that a lot of their equipment was damaged in the party. And for some reason, I had a full, like a half song and skit about it doesn't matter what you look like, from the Bayou Woman in The Princess and the Frog from the Walt Disney movie. And I had a parody of it where the vacuum machine was singing. I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, because they were talking about how the machine looks fine, but it really isn't. It's broken as heck. And so they basically decide that they're forced to call in some professional cleaners. And so they leave. They a week later, they come to pick up the money. And come up to pick up the money. And then it was kind of funny is that Drake and Josh, at the same time, the Drake and Josh find out the building still hasn't been finished, that they still have a couple minutes and everything. And the two black dudes, very big black dudes, need time cleaning up. And so Drake and Josh go out there to the old lady and man. And the old lady just looks up to him. He's like, you hired these buffoons? And looks at Josh. He's like, he doesn't look like he could clean a house. And then two big black guys with the same logo and equipment as them comes out of the house, and he's like, they just look like they know their job. And the old lady's like, oh, there they are. And she pays them the money. And he just looks at Josh and he's like, and so they're just like, and then they walk away. And so the old lady and the two black guys and the dad talk to each other going down the street in the distance. And then I wake up. And I like to think that when they got home, when they got home, they basically found out on the news that there was a body found in the old place, the owner's home, and they basically found out that the owners were, by the people that went on vacation, and the two black guys from the company reported it, and then the old lady and man got arrested, and I was like, what a turn. So yeah, that was kind of my weird dream. I got like another one. It was about a Futurama episode where basically I call it a Futurama episode because it was in the Futurama art style, but it was basically like my old Halo role-playing days on Gary's Mod. Basically, we would shoot some rockets at slow motion would come at you, and you would shoot them down and blow them up. But I didn't shoot them, I actually dodged them, so that they would blow around me, and everyone was just face-palming themselves. And then the mission starts, and then I decide to go all alpha omega nut crazy. And so instead of fighting the enemies to get to the base, I just take a shortcut and go all the way to the boss. And so then we find the boss. We find the boss's minion, and it's this giant, super crazy mecha machine, like the one from that app they're trying to sell you every 5 seconds on an advertisement. And then I just one-shotted it, and I thought it was the funniest thing. And then, so we get to the base, and then we find, go into the base, and then I find out everything does this kind of like glitching thing, kind of like what a TV does when you place it's like that movie, I don't know why, that movie effect, that movie screen effect that they do on TVs when they go from a transition. It's kind of what happened to me to everything around. And then a bunch of fairies is what I'd like to call them. They talk to me, and they talk about how this land is basically I'm stuck in a time loop, and that I have to make a wish in order to continue the time loop or to stop it, but I have to make a wish. So I wish for so I basically wish for let's see here, a ton of money, immortality, and infinite power, or like infinite power with the ability to determine what level of power I use on my own terms. And basically that's what I get. And then I find out that I'm just and then I found out for the continuation of the timeline, I become the villain, and I get into this giant pyro suit. I have this 3D imaging of watching myself in this character form, playing around an iPad, and I'm about to unleash a horde of zombies and whatnot, to collect a horde, not a horde of zombies, just horde of robots to collect humans, because I want like every species and alien collected into this one little biosphere I've made inside Earth. And and then I find out in front of me while I'm sitting on this, like, just imagine the Matrix. And we're talking about, yeah, outside the Matrix, where you see this giant row of humans just being leveled. And I'm just sitting there on one of those giant support beams, and in the pyro suit, getting ready to launch the attack on my iPad. And then one of the, I don't even know why. Don't even know why. So the Star Wars character from I forget what his name, but he's the pilot, the one that gets shot down in Star Wars, Clone Wars, during the Rule 66, I think is what it was. And basically that's where he gets the shot down guy. But that's the character. And he pops out of the, I find out he's still alive in the machine, and I find out that his wife released him because I released her out of an act of service. And his first thing is to assume that I won't come up, and he questions where's his wife and if I had killed her. And then she tells him what had happened, and then he basically stops me from unleashing the giant horde, because I decided to go on a long walk with him, giant talk. And so I just walk off into the distance talking about my views and his, and just some random tangent was what that show. What was that all about? It was weird. Pretty cool though. But yeah, that was my dream. A little weird. Ooh, 17 minutes. That's a little bit long. Oh. Anyhow, can't really do much. But hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for saying hi. Have a nice day. Have a nice life. And peace.